So, at the base of this massive elder, we've got a little fallen log. And these aren't great examples, but I've just picked these jelly ears. And you can also see these husky bits, which don't look great, and they're not great examples. I'm going to show you what we can do with those later. We've got another dead tree, and we've got some oysters. I'm going to pick these. A bit tatty. So, I'm at the Mersey now. I thought I should point out I've seen quite a bit of this. I'm pretty sure it's celandine, seen as one of the first signs of springs, and some of it's starting to look a bit tatty now, which probably means we're well into it. It looks a bit more like this when it's open. But as with a lot of flowers, as it starts to get a bit dark as it does now, it must be about 5 o'clock now, they start to close up for the night. It's very beautiful, and it's a sign of spring. Yeah, here's a lovely big patch of celandine. Celandine, whatever you want to call it. Might not be able to tell from the picture. It's, you know, a couple of meters across, nice big patch. Some open flowers. It's a white on them. Really lovely, just on the side of an embankment next to the Mersey. I think we've had a bit of rain. So there's a pair of them. One a little bit bigger with a black head, quite a long nose, kind of dark beak. The other one's kind of grey body, brown head in a pair. Not sure what they are. Here's a great patch of something I can't remember the proper name for. Sticky weed though. And the young shoots, the young tender bits, which there's not loads of really fresh shoots here. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. Lovely and edible, and I might pick some of those for eating, because they're good eating. Use them in a stew, something like that. There's loads of it along this bank. I think these tall things are knotweed, which is invasive and edible, I believe. So I might try some of that later in the month, but I need to double check about digging it up and cutting it and all that legal stuff before I ever go at that. But I think that's what that is. It's kind of long shoots and spade-shaped leaves that I hope you can see. There's a leaf there. Yeah. I'm well within earshot of the motorway, but look how wild it feels. I mean, a lot of this looks like it's been kind of taken back by nature. There's some chopped trees and bits of masonry, but look the other way and it's just birch, various trees and mosses. The trams on one side, motorway on the other, plains above. There's still lots of little wild patches just like this, if you look. I think we're going to cross that motorway now. It's a very strange place. You wouldn't think I'd been in a birch forest, less than a minute ago. Here we are at Sale Water Park. Like a little man-made lake. Look on the old maps, it used to be just farmland that was prone to flooding. They dug it out, filled it with water. Again, you got the motorway on one side, the trams on the other, these big power lines. Still in the middle of Manchester, really. And if you believe the stories, there's catfish in here as big as people. I've not seen them, but plenty of geese. That's a good one. Turkey tails in varying states. And some fallen logs. Allegedly have medical benefits, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, there's some pretty nice ones. See the kind of banded edges they have. Gorgeous. Found a bit of wood that is covered in these scarlet elf cups. They're absolutely everywhere in this patch. See, man, gorgeous. There's a big one there. Look at that, beast. Looks like a petal, doesn't it? We just go on through this patch. There's the little patches of red. Some more. The rabbits seem to love to eat these. I often see them with little nibble marks in, maybe squirrels, I don't know. Oh, there's one there actually. That looks like a little nibble mark, doesn't it? Mice, who knows? Yeah, these are getting nibbled. There's a tiny little example of, I think it's witch's butter, something like that. It's tiny, you sometimes see them growing kind of all the way up a length of a branch, lots of little dots. I just spotted this one, which won't focus now. Here we go, here's one of my favourites. One of my favourite trees, one of my favourite mushrooms, fungi. A big old gnarly elder with this mossy ridged bark. If we look a bit closer, loads of jelly ears, including this big one, which I'm going to take home and we can eat. Beautiful. I might see if there's a couple of more big ones that I can take home as well. These are good eating. Very gooey. You can see why they're called jelly ears. So we're back home now. Here's the tremendous haul. Quite a lot of jelly ears. Some of the sticky weed, and I put the other dried up jelly ears outside because there was some woodlice on them and I felt guilty. So we're just going to soak this one as an experiment, and we're going to try and make a bit of an experimental side dish with these two. I was hoping I'd find some wild garlic as a bit of flavour or seasoning, but we didn't, or I didn't look hard enough. So I'm going to use some spring onions instead, and hopefully this will turn into something. So after they've grown and it gets into the winter and everything starts to kind of dry up a little bit, jelly ears do this thing where they naturally dry out and preserve themselves, and it's great. They can last like this on the tree or, you know, in a jar for, I don't know, certainly weeks, months, and they can be magically turned back into something more like this, or something similar. They don't completely recover, as you'll probably see, and we're gonna Gonna have a look at that, because these don't look particularly appetizing, and like I say, these aren't a good example, but we'll give it a go. Right, so this thing's dry, scabby, and completely unappetizing. Relatable, eh? Got a cup of water, pop it in there. The time is 8:10. Let's see how it gets on. There we go. It's only been 5 minutes and it's already a bit softer and juicier, and I think it's grown already, right? A little bit. Oh, that's a millipede. I better get him out. Oh, well, we've got our ingredients. The millipede survived, by the way. Apparently millipedes can survive in water for 5 minutes, which is pretty cool. Yeah, just shook off and wandered off. Yeah, look, this is really tatty. It's definitely growing and getting a bit softer. I think, I know when you buy them in packets, it says soak them for half an hour. So we'll leave it there for now and we'll see what it's like at the half-hour mark. Right, so a bit experimental. I'm sure I could do this better, but it's a long time since I've cooked with these ingredients. So I'm going to try lightly simmering this. It shouldn't need much cooking because we've picked the young shoots, so that's just cooking in a little pan with a tiny bit of water. And then if you can hear popping noises and mushrooms jumping out, so they've got a lot of water in. Yeah, that is a recipe for disaster, isn't it? I'm going to turn the temperature down on this, but for now we've got jelly ears and spring onions. Crikey. Simmer. So, I've turned the heat down, I've combined them into one pan, mixed them together, and yeah, this is basically the end product. I've just give it a taste. It's really nice. I mean, the flavour of the spring onions definitely carries it, but like I said, the wild garlic would do that as well. And if you did that, or you know, or some kind of wild onions, if you do that, you've basically got a really nice little foraged side dish there. The mushrooms of the jelly ears have kind of reduced down a little bit, but I mean, it looks pretty good to my eye, and it tastes really good too. So I mean, I'll probably forage twice as much next time, but yeah, really happy with that. Good day. And just to finish off, let's look at this. So that's been in for half an hour now. So easily 2, 3 more times the size, and it looks a lot like it still seems a little bit tougher, but it's looking a lot like our fresh ones were. So that's the natural preservation that happens when these dry up on the elder. That means you can pick these, well, year round really. I mean, this is essentially last year's growth. This would have grown last autumn, most likely. And now I'm picking this in spring, and it's essentially fresh. Really exciting. Good, one of my favourite things, this. Good all year round little treat. I'm not eating this because it's scabby, but yeah. Rehydrated forage. How exciting, eh?